Oh people, this is Ryder here with the review of the Yokai Watch Note DX Yokai Watch Zeroshiki Type S. So this is the, yet again, re-release and re-versioning of the Yokai Watch Type Zeroshiki, which is, just Type 0 and such. This was the original second watch of Yokai Watch, and it's back into being the second original watch in this iteration of Yokai Watch. Nope. So it's neat that that this series is at least still going and such. Kind of wish I looked at the content. Obviously, the box this time around, I really like it overall. I really do. I always really like Yokai Watch's boxes. They're really colorful and just really elaborate and such. But obviously we have the Type 0. We have the Zeroshiki Type S itself, because this one is actually different from the original version. Then we have the Z medals of Jibanyan. What's Noko's name in Japan? Please list them all out. Nope, they're not even listed on Hobby Search. That's great. This one's Noko, as I know. Obviously we have Komi-san. I don't know if he's supposed to be in a Buster type because his is black. I don't know his name. This one's Kieran, I think. Here we have the top, the bottom, the side, or the left, and then the right. This one advertises that every time you use a medal, it has 20 phrases of whisper, and basically just everything. This is the QR code for the manual, and yeah, basically, I kind of wish the back was more detailed, but oh well. And just, for those curious, here's the box comparison between the original Yokai Watch Note, or Yokai Watch Note version. It's actually a lot smaller. Probably because they went with the closed packaging, but I actually don't mind this at all. And plus, I don't know, this flap really doesn't like closing in. Well, I mean, this one does the same thing too, but I mean, like, this one at least had more at the top. But I mean, oh well. Whoop-de-doo. Alright, so here we have all the contents out as I went over a month ago, or actually like a few weeks ago at this point. Let's just get this looking proper. So obviously we have the Zeroshiki version S right here, and we have our Yokai medals, to which, to correctly state them, obviously we have Jibanyan, Tsukinoko, Buri Taicho. I'm not going to include the clip of me correcting myself. Kirin and Komi-san, game medal rock paper scissors, which we'll take a look at those later. But first of all, we'll take a look at the Zeroshiki Type S. So obviously this is supposed to be in the same vein as the original Yokai Watch version S, where it's a re-release of it's using the same mold of the original, but with a new paint job, because I really like the color scheme they went with this one. So the base of this is like this nice metallic pale blue, which is really nice, and then the straps really work with it too. The straps are the exact same as the original Yokai Watch, they're just done in blue now. And just like the original, it runs on LR44, so you just simply pull out the pull tab. And they have the new trademark to acknowledge note. As you can see from here, it's copyrighted 2014. and such, and the speaker hole is there and such. However, what I think is what makes this one a lot, obviously more decent, just like the original, is that the new paint job is a lot more, like, it's just really beautiful, because obviously the entire watch face is, as you can see, this is an entire metallic red. Obviously not down here, but like the top is metallic red. The gold paint inside is really beautiful, and the gold rim, or the turn, like what you're gonna use to turn the watch, like this entire thing is like beautiful and gold. Speaking of this thing, just turning this thing is so satisfying. Just the clickiness and the smoothness, it's so addicting. Like, just, I can literally do this for a while. That's how nice it is. And what I really find interesting is that, as you can see from here, like the zero portion is like a complete hollow foil, but not the actual inner insides of the watch, which is really interesting that they decided to do that. And this is where the light is and such. And last but not least, we got the switch, obviously, which is actually just, I think it's molded, like, it was molded in this plastic, because again, it still has that, like, metallic look to it, which is really neat. And again, like, just the fact that you can actually push this in so then it can keep the cleanliness of the watch and such, like, that's a really neat option overall. And then I'll just get this out of the way, just because we're gonna start comparing. I don't know, this one, I kind of don't like doing it like this, just because of the fact, you know, it's clear plastic, and I don't want to scratch it. But, you know, this fits really well in my hand. This can really be worn by anyone. Oops. But, yeah, this looks pretty neat overall. Like, this feels nice and such. It's really comfortable overall. I like it. So, let's start comparing the watches. So obviously the most obvious comparison, actually no, we'll actually do this one right away. So let's compare it to the previous re-release. So as you can see from the watch face, the note is like completely hollow foiled out, which I didn't really mind. But here it's only the one section, which I find really interesting. I guess because they found it to be pointless to make the entire thing hollow foil, especially if you're not going to see it, because they basically did the opposite. Because with this one, this isn't hollow foil, the white portion isn't, but now this portion is, so I think that's probably what they were thinking of. Other than that, just like the original, like, versions of these, this one is I mean, they are basically the same, it's just that you don't open this one up, because obviously this, haven't seen the movie, but I mean, the show reason was that, I don't remember the show reason, it's just that Whisper just happened to have another watch, but like, he accidentally swallowed it, or something like that. But I think there is like actual lore reasons for this one, because this, of like why this one's the model, or Zeroshiki, because this one, obviously, this one came out before this one, as you can tell, which is why this one doesn't do as much functionally. It just has the turning, and this one is automatically just the cap and such. And obviously it's a button, while this one is a full-on switch. But they're basically, well, the wrist straps are the same, but like, I want to say they're basically the same body, just modified and such. Speaking of modifications, excuse me, we have the Hasbro version, to which, besides the fact that like Hasbro shifted theirs, it seems like proportion-wise they kind of like, I don't know, like, obviously with this one it has the Yo motion and such. Like, again, I don't think the Hasbro one's bad, Again, see, because I did not know this button actually went down at all, just because I was so used to the Hasbro version, just kind of being out already. But the thing with the Hasbro one that I definitely didn't like was just how ratchety the watch face was. Like, it's not bad, but it's not a smooth process. And like the thing too is that you really had to kind of like push it to like get to the one section and such, and then like you gotta like really push it in here and such. But this one again, it's like so much quicker than having to like fight this thing. Like, so there's more. Like, obviously, like the weird thing is that obviously this was clear where the LED is. Hasbro didn't follow that for some reason. They instead just made an entire cutout for the Yo motion. So this just is just a piece of plastic. I don't know. I thought it was weird. I get that they can't project the Yo motion out of this, but like, I don't know. It's really weird. Anyways, for sounds, just simply switch it on by flipping this up. We get that sound. Let me zoom in. And then you don't really get much because you get two variations when you turn this to each dial. That's what it is, it's a dial. You just get those sounds, and then when you hold this in, you get an LED. Another blue LED, which is really bright. It's actually, when we turn the lamps off, it's actually brighter than the Yokai Watch Note. So the left one is the Zeroshiki, and the right is the Note, or the Yokai Watch. So, and the thing too is that an improvement that I'm already happy about, this one's immediately louder than the Note. I don't know why the Note was quiet, but I'm glad that they they increased the volume and such. And as you can immediately tell from this one's not a exact one-to-one with the original one. This one doesn't have the same voice as the original one, which I can definitely say could be off-putting first of all, but again, we will get to that as we get to the medals. So here we are again with the Z medals, which, you know, we were already somewhat used to with our previous packs and such, but obviously because the Zeroshiki's main medals are Z medals, it's cool that they're actually more readily available now and such. So again, here we have another Jiminyan medal, and you can tell there is actually slight differences between these medals and the ones from the original Note, because just this one's on top. So here's Momotaro Yan, and you can tell. So the tribe symbol is like where it should be and such, and the or there's no QR code, but like in place of the QR code, there's the number for it in the middle and such, because these ones omitted the QR code. These ones still omit it. However, when we turn it around, it's no longer there. You have to look in between the track, which I find really bizarre. But this one's B1222, so that's interesting. And going back to the tribe symbol, so you can see that there's a note now in place of it, as the Parichi tribe symbol is now within the name, so I think they basically shortened the text for it, because if we look at Tsukinoko, they all have the note symbol now, which I kind of don't get why they decided to do that. At least, like, you know, I know from the colors and the symbol, like, at least still tells you that it is what tribe it is, but I don't know why they can. I guess it's cheaper to produce, like, make all the metals one mold, I guess. This one's B259. That's weird. Here's Buri Taicho. Obviously he's very iconic and such. Obviously he's from Isamashi. And this one is B1208. So we're back to the thousands. Jeez. And then here we have a classic metal with Kirin. Yeah, so you can see here too they changed it because now the Puka Puka tribe symbol is on the flag and the note symbol. However, with this one, you can actually see this a lot easier. This one's B09 or B1209. But they still at least kept the molding and such. I just don't get why they transferred it. It's really weird. And last but not least is actually a new type of metal, which I had thought this was a Buster metal, but I think it's not. This is actually what they call a game metal, which is interesting. So in the case of this one, it's Komasan, but it's a game of rock, paper, scissors. As you can see, the scissors, hand, and rock, or paper. And this one is B1225. And these ones are just in black. They actually, honestly, it kind of looks like the ogre. I don't know why the game metals are black. I feel like that's a really odd color choice because you would think like black would be used for like something anonymous or like evil, but no, it's for a cheerful game. Anyways, let's use these within the Zeroshiki. So, obviously, if you don't know, the way the Zeroshiki works is that you simply, you still insert the metal like so. And then you get that. You can press this right away. This is what happens when you wait for it, which I think it's pretty cool. But basically, you insert the metal, you turn the dial to 1, and then you turn the dial to 2. But again, you're going to definitely tell that the sound structure is different. As you already have heard already, as when you insert the metal and wait, but I'm going to hold off on that. This thing didn't want to read it. This thing did not want to be read. Gosh darn it. And turn 2. So yeah, so you don't recall with this watch, every time you like after summoning a yokai, you get a phrase from Keita. Yeah, Keita. This one, however, you get a random phrase of I think 20 from Whisper, which I think is pretty neat. And as you can tell from the sound structure, this one's not as authentic to what if you recall from what the metals we covered here. They're not in the same voice as the original watch. I assume it's Jibanyan voicing this watch. I don't recall, but yeah. So the thing here is that all the tribes actually have new jingles within this watch. Yeah, like you just press that up to hear the name again. and then you turn it back to 0 when you're done. But yeah, so like this watch is interesting because it's basically the external is the exact same. However, the internals are completely new. So if we were to use Tsukinoko, so here's the new Notoron jingle. And obviously, as you heard with Jibanyan, that was the Preachy jingle. And the thing is that the jingles here are mainly a remix, obviously, off of the jingles from the original Yokai Watch, because, however, well, for the most part, because if we do Isamashi, to which I'm going to show right now, you can immediately position it at 1, and everything will start right away. So this is the Isamashi jingle. The thing with the Isamashi jingle is that it's actually the most close to the original jingle for this watch, because the thing is that obviously with this watch, because it was a older model, all the jingles were instrumentals, but then Isamashi's was only the ja 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 ja. So the fact with this version, they actually kept that, and like they didn't bother throwing the vocals in, is actually really cool. Plus, the remixes for these are really cool. Again, position it right away at 1. Let's use Kirin. So there's the Poka Poka jingle, to which these I think play up to 4 times? It's not that long. So that's basically it for the Z medals and classic medals. So the way, obviously this medal is going to be interesting, because this one I'm going to show you the fundamentals of this. So basically you insert it like so, then you wait, then when you weigh it out, it tells you to move the dial up to the 1. Then it will tell you to move it to 2, because the game medals actually don't have a jingle of their own. So basically it's Komo-san announcing the game and telling me to move it to 2. And then obviously he will say 1 of 3 answers, because you're doing rock, paper, scissors. And obviously they're all randomized. I think that's all of them. Like, you can just do this as many times as you want, and like, you can immediately put a medal in 2. It's just that the game medals don't allow you to do that for some reason, because if I were to take Jibanyan, so yeah, I really do like the ability of like just being able to this in whatever position you want. Like, okay, I don't want to hear the jingle, I'll move it at 2. Or if, like, I want the jingle right away, so I'll put it at 1. Or if, like, you want to go through the entire process, just put it at 0, 1, and 2. I really like that, like, leniency. But, so to my surprise, and happily so, this thing is actually compatible with all previous medals that you've collected for this entire series. So, if we were to take the Jibanyan from the Yokai Watch note, I would say the same Parichi jingle. And like, it's just the same announcement, but keep in mind that these are different tracks, which I find really weird. That, I mean, I get why they're different tracks, but then I would have want this one to have done something different. But I get it's for those that don't have this one. And then for one that we don't have yet, or haven't covered yet, so yeah, so the medals that come with the Yokai Watch don't work. The medals from set 1, so Komasan, Komajiro, Marion, Orochi, QB, Roboyan, F-Type, Jime Ken, and Kashibanishi, or whatever your name was. We'll use Roboyan F-Type despite the fact he's not from this watch. He's from the Type U, but he's still a Z medal. So yeah, it's just, again, it's really neat to like use these previously released Z medals that were weirdly compatible with the Yokai Watch and actually use them in the proper watches they're for. Like, that's actually pretty cool. This is where it gets weird, because like, so here's set 2. Obviously, Momotaro, Yan, Emma we'll get to. These 3 work fully. I'm not gonna go through everything, but like, 2 out of the 3 of these actually work. We will just get Emma out of the way just because Emma's actually cool. Because Emma, to my surprise, actually gets an entirely new jingle if it actually wants to focus. Sorry about that. So, Emma is really cool in this thing. I forgot to state that the Komasan game medal, when you flick it up, it's just going to say Komasan. I should have done that, but shoot. Watch the demo, just like if you want to see all these medals. But basically, I want to show off 2 more medals off of these. So we will show off the Jiminyan Meditai, and we will show off the weird things with, again, we will show her. So, again, so yeah, this one basically just kind of works like the game medals, but I actually at least do appreciate that this one actually acknowledges that it's a special one. But then again, some of these gears, gosh, it's because I need to film Dawn Brothers. But some of these medals are weird because when you initially use them, you just need to hear that. So, like, they sound like they will play the jingle, but they won't have the name programmed at all. So it's just filled with whisper phrases. Because at this point, this is a whisper phrase generator. And the thing is that, like, again, like, these two have that, and alongside, whatever Gramps' Japanese name was, he does that too. So it's just, it's weird. Oh yeah, these two do it too. Yeah, I forgot. So these two are also I should have done these two, but we've done the jingles. I think that's why I skipped out on them. So it's just weird with why they didn't bother programming some of these gears, medals. And speaking of that, how do these medals work with the note? Well, first of all, okay. I don't think this was intentional, but I think it's neat. So you know how Tsukinoko is like in the 200s? Yeah, we finally got it. We got the generic, can't read this metal sound. Cool. I didn't have to buy out older medals. But, however, these next two are gonna be, like, pretty recognizable. So yeah, we're back to, like, you know, traditional Yokai Watch note standards. Before I get to this, I forgot to show the error. There. Obviously, it's not a Yokai Watch without the error. So if you... This one's pretty interesting, because this is when I first discovered it before figuring out what the Zeroshiki. But if you use the Komasan game medal in here, you get a phrase from Keita. And then, when you insert it again, you cycle through them. And the fact that like it allows you to like insert it during the duration of the ejection sound is pretty cool. So yeah, just like the medals that the model, or not the model, the Zeroshiki can't read. Yeah, the game medals just randomly generate a phrase from Keita in this watch, which is really interesting. So, bringing everything back, like so. I guess we'll position it like so. I'm gonna do this messily. Sorry. I probably should have done this with a thumbnail for the demo, but my thoughts overall on this watch so far, it's definitely a step up from the Yokai Watch Note, because while it is primarily a re-release of a previous released watch, battery exhaust. Come on. But yeah, like I think it's a really interesting take on a like re-release of a toy, of just practically making it its own thing, with just using the externals of a previously known thing. It's like if they took um let's say what's a good belt? Let's just say they took the Ghost Driver, but like completely redid everything about it. So like it probably, like, I think, let's just say it just doesn't rap anymore. That's basically what it is, but like in a like complete, like they changed like all the jingles and such, and like try to keep them like one to one, but like do their own take on it. That's what basically what they did with this thing, and I really appreciate it. Like, I was kind of disappointed at first, but that's also just because I think the Bandai Mania video didn't even show off the jingles at all. Because I'm pretty sure they... I don't know, at the same time though, just like, messing with this toy is kind of its fault, like where it kind of faults. Because luckily it didn't occur within this video. It'll probably occur when we do the next two videos, but this toy has a really bad pin reader. Like, cause this thing just likes to constantly misread your medals. And it's really bothersome, because that's why I thought initially this thing, I thought there was actually like a specific like format you had to do. Like, if you want this to work normally, then you have to like put it at the 0 dial, or you have to put the dial at 0. But then if you want like a special exclusive sound, or like if you actually, no, okay, so I think with the way I thought about it is that like if you just want to play with this medal normally, then you keep it at the 0. But then if you want to actually play the game, then you put the dial at 1. But none of that stuff matters. The only reason why like we get those weird like sounds, basically all the sounds is pre-programmed, of just like, oh yeah, this metal doesn't do anything, so here's a whisper phrase. That's all through just the watch constantly misreading what you're putting in, and it's, yeah, it gets annoying. Especially because it's like, especially with just trying to find videos about this thing, it really, not that it hurts, but it's just, it gives you a lot of misconceptions, just because it's like, oh, so like you have to do this thing to do this. It's like, no, that's just the watch being faulty. Because like, I thought this watch was going to be a lot more complicated. Luckily, it's not. But like, I think the good thing about this too is that like, this is a fine package if you've gotten at least the previous sets. Like, not all of them, but at least just like the first two sets, because really with the third set, like with four of them just giving you at least the jingle but not even announcing the names is really weird. And at the same time, like, the compatibility, like, I appreciate the backwards compatibility. It at least reads the medals, because out of these five, only Tsukinoko is really the only one that, like, doesn't work. But for someone like me who doesn't even have any of the prior medals, it's actually kind of nice to at least have, a medal that does that worm sound. Of like, ooh, you put in a medal that was released, before before 2021. Ooh. Yeah, I think this is a really solid like set overall. I got mine off of Amazon Japan because I just felt like that was the most reliable place I can actually get one. There's one in stock right now on HLJ as of this recording of December 27th. I'll just say, just get it off of Amazon Japan. Just because it's practically about like $32. And, like, that place will at least have it. Because, again, for some reason, none of these stores are stocking Yokai Watch stuff now. And it's really bothersome. But, yeah, I can't really say much right now just because we got two more sets to cover and potentially a third one if I actually do actually throw it in. I don't know, honestly, but yeah, this should probably end. So that would do this review. This is Ryder and LV people. Bye.